Hi, welcome. In this video, I'd like to discuss working a dog at a offset angle when it comes to building bridges through socialization. And the video I just put out, again, you watch the video where I'm actually introducing Pearl with Coco and having, bringing them together through each of them having a crate side by side. You'll see how it is that I'm using the offset angle with Pearl. As I bring Pearl into closer proximity to Coco and getting closer and closer to the crate, I have her turn slightly away, okay? And the reason for that, again, and this is a very important thing that you want to make sure you're doing with dogs especially when you're dealing with a dog that you know has control issues, okay, through even hitting a tipping point with aggression. You want to have the ability to be able to expose the mind of the dog, which means that when a dog, and you'll see this, I call it a flashover. When people get caught off guard, when a dog launches into aggression and you don't even have a sense that it's even building up. Because the dog, here's the thing, once a dog's gained control and hit a tipping point, it's about fulfillment. And even the anticipation of fulfillment and the contrast against that through holding the dog back through a leash or certain interaction that will really incite and begin to trigger an aggressive moment. It'll start to build up in contrast. And so the reason for this offset angle is that what it does is that it really will allow you to expose the card, so to speak. Because at an offset angle, a dog, in order to try to gain fulfillment, has to turn their head, okay? Has to begin to turn their head the other way. And through the method, okay, through interrupting that state, through nudging and interrupting that state, that provides the information, okay, with the dog at what level they're coming into agreement with being brought under that level of influence, okay? So a dog that doesn't have control issues, number one is they're going to be very relaxed, okay, as you start to move into that offset angle. As they turn their head, of course, any dog, even a dog that is a follower, may, want to have a little look or whatever. But again, the really thing to key up on is the reaction of the dog to the method as these nudging moments begin to happen. Okay, that's what's going to open it up to expose the cards as to where you're at. Of course, already knowing that a dog has control issues, okay, you're going to sense that. But it's not just a test in that way. You just don't do the offset angle to test, get information, okay? Information, typically I already know what the information is going to be. For someone starting off in the system, okay, you want to do that, you want to do these offset angles a lot, and the information is going to what it's going to do is going to reaffirm why it is that you need to follow the language of the method in a very specific way. But again, the test comes through the dog accepting or not accepting influence happening this way through the nudging, okay, within the context of what's reasonable, okay, the level of challenge to that level of influence, okay. And so the information and feedback that you're going to be looking for is the challenge levels, and that comes through just trying to push through it, almost saying, you know what, I'm gonna just really push through this method, because the amount of fulfillment that the dog's anticipating to receiving is almost like a drug, okay, very addicting to the dog. And also the information you get is even the body language of the dog, how stiff the dog is. With Pearl's case, you can hear the breathing sounding like Darth Vader breathing, because it's physiological. It affects the mind. The mind's pulling in kind of like, almost like a star collapsing in on itself, okay? The stress load, how the mind is reacting, is pulling inward. And this is where even this issue, what people call fear aggression, comes from. It's the reaction of a dog as it relates to both control and stress. But the main issue is control itself. But again, the information you're going to get back through the method is going to provide insight as to why it is you need to be doing the method in the first place, okay? Because again, as a dog begins to come into agreement with this method, it's going to start to release control, and the stress loads are going to begin to fall off the dog. Okay, but again, getting back to the issue of an offset angle, you always want to make sure when you're dealing with certain dogs that you're working these angles, okay? You know, because again, it's going to provide a lot of information, and it's going to prevent you from getting caught off guard. Suddenly you're in a situation where the dog is launching into an aggressive moment, and then you're really in a lot of trouble, because then you're at that state of mind. You're dealing with a state of mind that's been building up, and you didn't see it because of of how that dog, what that state of mind represents, even through just the visuals of the dog anticipating fulfillment, and then next thing you know, how it contrasts, and a spark has been lit, has been ignited, and it turns into a forest fire. So, but again, really encourage you to use these offset angles. Very helpful. It really allows you to not just control the situation, but change it. It provides information. It's a really great part of what makes this system of training really special, is the ability to be able to to work the methodology in such a way that it's going to prevent bad things from happening, and it's going to provide you a really profound insight into the mind of the dog. So thanks for watching.